Okay. Shalom, greetings. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm trying to. Excuse me. I am. I'm here in this studio. I thought I could just jump on and do a quick little minute. Um, my goodness. Okay, that's going to be a bit bothersome. All right. Well, I did not account for a couple things here. I have to do more setting up than anything else. All right, sorry. You really won't be able to see me um, on the screen, just the logo. I don't know how to remove that, unfortunately. It kind of is what it is. Just, those are kind of some of the things that it happens. So, um, again, welcome to Q2A. This is the Q2A Minute. Um, I am Karis Copeland, the executive director here at Q2UA, which stands for Quest to Unite Africa. And we are a nonprofit organization that supports critical infrastructure and economic development both on the continent and here at home and for the diaspora at large. So we are, as a people, we're going through some very dynamic times. And I have been working with our volunteers to help support the community. Hopefully, within the next couple of weeks, we should be able to finalize some of those plans. And, I pray that we're all are starting to understand what we see internationally affects domestically, and domestically affects internationally. And one of the things that I wanted to jump on because I wanted to address one of was the Gabon coup, and I believe it was both the Gabon and the Benin. These coups, I believe Benin more than recently. Um, I'm going to tell you this: there is a reason that the French had their navy show up a couple of months ago. Understand, and I'm gonna put you all on some international diplomatic military game. What ends up happening is that they have embassies. Those embassies are there, and they have some, I would say, covert operations that go on within the community that reports to the embassy. That embassy then goes back, and then they explain their national strategic campaign for that country, and that will then trigger military and other covert operations. So when they hear about rumblings of people being disgruntled and discontent, then guess what they do? Then they have their forces on alert, And then they step up more covert operations. And then what ends up happening is that they will then lead and get their assets in place to then usher in that operation, usher in, foment that undertone. Because once that undertone is then fomented and then they have action, then they can say, oh, look, we were able to quell that response because remotely they were leading that. So then they could get all the mice into the mice trap. You have the tainted mice that led the other mice into the tainted cheese. That's how that works. That's how everything works. As I was watching some of Zach McQuessa, he was showing France's involvement. But I don't really think that a lot of people truly understand the mechanisms of how this world works. Now, I can only give that to you on a very, very unclassified level. But again, these operations happen every single day. What they look on is everything that deals with the resources on the ground and not the most valuable resource on the ground. And the most valuable resource on the ground is not underneath the people's feet. It's actually the people themselves. And that's a hard concept that these Western nations will never understand. Trust me, I know. I've been in this. I've worked in this. I've understood this. And they're playing the whack a mole game because if you don't care for people, what ends up happening is, and what we're seeing right now, is that those people that spent their whole lives, that spent their whole existence destabilizing other countries, stealing resources of other countries, you name it. Guess what's ending up happening? Their countries are now falling apart because they did not want to take care of things at home. And we could go over all those other scriptural references. That's literally in Habakkuk chapter 2. But what the main goal that we're doing in this organization is that we are showing our brothers and sisters on the continent who we are, not who they portray us to be. This is why our mission is so important. This is why our mission is so critical. When it started off 32 months ago, we knew that we needed to come together as a people to be able to move, to do something, because now was that time to move and to do something. And it really was the Most High showing us how to move, how to work, how to react. And we had to learn how to do that within our community before we were able to do that and show ourselves in front of our brothers and sisters on the continent. Now, here's the great thing, we have had some ups and downs. We've had to learn some life lessons. We've had to think of great ideas, but then we had to slow down those ideas because we had to have the pieces in place. We had to count the cost of building the foundation, to build the building, to build that facility. Excuse me. And those costs came about in the form of our people being ready to go on this mission. And so my job as executive director is to make sure that the resources are here for the mission, the IT infrastructure, the financial infrastructure, the community infrastructure, and engagement. And I thank all of our volunteers that's helping me to carry this mission on out. Because again, I can't do this by myself. And I'm not tasked to do this by myself because we are tasked as a people, to get things done. Not for my mission. This is for his mission. This is for his glory. So I am excited about a couple of different opportunities that we are working. And again, it takes time to work these relationships. We're not working in relationships in the West. We're not working relationships in Europe and parts of the United States. No, we're working relationships in Africa. And the most solid foundations aren't the foundations that, okay, here's a handshake and, we're good and we'll get it on paper and we'll get this and hit that. Those are too easy. Actually, real relationships in Africa take time, take planning, take coordination, take engagements, take the WhatsApp calls and the WhatsApp chats, take the Zoom calls, and just the general, hey, I was just thinking about you. Just want to say how you're doing, and you go from there. See, along the way, as a people, we've lost that because the Western style of engagement has dramatically failed. And people can see when you have general empathy and sympathy and love and care for that particular individual, to be able to say, look, when I make it, you've made it. When you've made it, we've made it. We are all making this together. When I've been presented with these opportunities over on the continent, and when I explain this to our people, and I know for some of our people, it can be they get apprehensive because, yes, it can be very, very daunting. This mission can be very challenging. And I'm not taking that away from anyone. When our volunteers do come through the process and they see what's happening, that can be very, very challenging. We are very lofty, to say the least, in what we do and how we plan. But it's all about the relationship that has been destroyed for over 500 years and counting. We just got here 400 years here in the United States, but it's been since the 1400s, since those edicts that had taken place in Europe, for lack of better terms, and because this is a 501c3 organization, you know that I have to speak in that political jargon. But you're going to understand that as we continue to move throughout this mission, it doesn't get easier. It's going to get harder. It's going to get harder because we're dealing in an economy that is not the economy of 2 years ago, nor the economy of 5 years ago, not even the economy of 10 years ago. But the awesome thing when I say that this is the Most High's organization, I don't have to find a way. He makes a way all the time. The one thing that I always do ask is, please pray for us. Please pray for this organization. Please pray for the people that are volunteering and that are doing the work in this organization. Because when you realize how things have been set up for that day, for that hour, for that time, then we can truly appreciate and understand how the Most High sets things on up for us and how we had to go through some of the good, some of the bad, some of the ugly, and really some of the most frightening because it wasn't for us, it was for Him because of how we are to do His will and His mission for His people. And He knows that His people, I myself included, we are broken people. So you can't confront broken with broken, or else you break in pieces together. You confront broken with love. You confront self pain with perseverance, with loving kindness, with peace, and with understanding, with the compassion, not just what they say, but what you do. Because it is actions that do speak louder than words. We're a special people that we act a certain way. And the world tries to emulate how we act. But really, by and large, we act on love. Now, generally speaking, we do get taken advantage of all the time. Everyone has been taken advantage. That's the issue. But we'll come back and we'll show up again and again and again because you want to know why? Because that's what the Most High does for us. And then that one day we get it because we've been chastised to the point to where we've had to be broken down to where we are self-reflecting in our actions. And then when we get it, then we're able to take what we've learned and share that with others. We're now beginning to truly understand what it is to build our people up from the ground up after hundreds of years of being destroyed. This was not an overnight thing. This was not a one or two generation thing. This was going to be a continual process that was going to last for a couple generations. But I just pray that each generation that follows this generation will take a little bit of the lessons learned and will have a little bit of a better outcome and head start than we did as a generation that's literally starting from ground one. But the great thing about starting from ground one is that you are the foundation, and we are the foundation that holds everything up. So I don't know about you, but I want to be the foundation that the Most High uses so that our children and our children's children will be able to far exceed, advance, outpace, and do far more than what we could have ever thought or imagined in this time, as we know we're getting out of our captivity. Now, I don't know about you, but every time I think about that, I get excited. I get excited for their possibility, and I get excited for their future. So here, I know there's a lot of stuff that's going on. I wanted to give a quick breakdown and give you that understanding of how this world works, why they are very scared, because if they lose Benin, they know that Nigeria and Togo is about to flip anyway without a coup. The president is really, really, excuse me, Sahel leaning. So you had Benin, and then that's Nigeria. You already had a couple of Nigerian officers there in the mix. On over there, you've already had issues going on in Tanzania. Look, again, their system is declining. They know it's on the decline. That's why I believe 2026 is going to be a very special year in terms of these different turnarounds, these different tremendous gains, and honestly, these tremendous opportunities for us to be a big influence. Because that is why the Most High made us for this season. And I don't know about you all, but I'm excited to be here in a season that we've been destined for. So, with that, we'll have engagements. We'll be working on engagements. We'll be working on different opportunities when it comes to not medical piece, but we're also looking at the educational engagements, which I am very big on as I wrap up to do my daily educational engagements. Keep me in prayer. Hallelujah. But with that said, again, I wanted just to jump on here for a quick Q2UA minute as I'm dealing with some of the technical things in the background. But family, please understand that we are in some interesting times and we are called to be a light to these nations. We're called to be a light to these nations. So I pray that you continue to stand and support the mission of Q2UA. And with that, please also join us in a few minutes as we have our Q2UA medical team that will be joining at 8 this morning, which is in less than 30 minutes. So, with that, shalom, salama, and blessings, family. Till next time, have a wonderful and blessed day. And also stay encouraged because Yahuwah still sits on his throne.